This is going to be short and sweet. We're here as the High Ambition Coalition to rally and show support for 1.5 and keeping it alive, and a loss and damage fund in this final push at COP27. And as part of that, and I'm going to read out a statement that we would like to deliver as the HAC, and I really welcome that I have so many of our family, our HAC family, here on stage with me. And after I read this statement, we will take 1 or 2 questions, depending on the time, because as you know, there's a 5 p.m. call for all of these wonderful people who are standing with me here on stage. As we watch the devastating impacts of climate change this year, and the multiple and interrelated crises that grip our world, exacerbating the suffering of the poor, marginalized, and vulnerable, we come together to say that we must emerge from COP27 with a package of outcomes that keeps 1.5 alive and protects the world's vulnerable. The COP27 decision must reflect that we, 1, hold fast to our commitment to 1.5 degrees Celsius and recognize the IPCC's finding that to keep 1.5 Celsius in reach, global emissions must peak before 2025 at the latest. This COP decision must put the world on a path to phasing out all fossil fuels and an urgent just transition to renewables. 2, insist that the mitigation work program focus on both ambition and implementation, be grounded in the findings of the IPCC, look across sectors, and must take decisions annually throughout this critical decade for reducing emissions that result in concrete targets and actions to reduce emissions in line with 1.5. 3, call for NDCs that align with a 1.5 degrees Celsius pathway to be delivered and implemented urgently, particularly by the G20, and we must recognize that key sectors like shipping and aviation must be transformed. 4, determine that short-term measures to address the fossil fuel energy crisis will not affect our climate ambition, the targets we have set, and the determination we hold to keep global warming to 1.5. 5, support the agreement on new funding arrangements for loss and damage, including a loss and damage response fund at COP27, and recognize that we will need to sprint together to operationalize this response in the coming year. 6, affirm the importance of accountability for climate finance commitments, including to collectively double funding for adaptation by 2025. 7, support an ambitious global goal on adaptation, recognizing that it will take a global movement to accelerate adaptation planning and implementation to protect us all. And 8, affirm the importance of meeting existing obligations under international law to protect human rights and the environment from the adverse effects of climate change, and gratefully acknowledge the voices raised across the world in support of climate action. With that, I will take, I think, 1 or 2 questions, and yes, from Sky News in the front. Actually, I will be taking the questions for these folks who are wonderful here in the back. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria Seabrook from Sky News. Are you saying that if these demands aren't met, you won't sign off on the cover text as it currently stands? Thank you.
Yes, you would like to go ahead and show us.
I think what we are saying is that's what we are here for. To keep 1.5 alive, this is all what we need to do, and that is our job here.
Any other questions? From Just Press, and please, when you just state what organization you're with. Yes, CNN. Oh. CNN. I'm so sorry. It's been a long day.
Thank you. Ivana Kotoswa, CNN. You look quite happy right now, are you? I'm sensing sort of cautious jubilation. There is a new agreement, we're being told, on loss and damage, specifically mentioning vulnerable countries rather than developing countries. I wonder whether this is something you're happy with. and whether we could say that a deal on this has been done. Thank you.
No, we have to reiterate whatever decisions in the plenary and has to become official to be official. And also to say that basically what we're saying is that we're not going back from the Glasgow agreements, and that is not acceptable for us to go below Glasgow, and that we, with these proposals, are pushing forward to be more ambitious than Glasgow because of the current situation and crisis that we're living, and that we hope to have two things which will make this a valuable COP. One, this commitment to 1.5 with clear decisions and not backing back. And second, that the loss and damage fund will be fundamental. But one without the other doesn't make sense, because otherwise we will be accepting catastrophe and not pushing forward towards avoiding the worst of climate change. And that's, I think, what this coalition is saying, that we need both. We need the ambition in mitigation and in the principles of the Paris Agreement, but also we need the loss and damage, because unfortunately we are at that stage, but we don't resign ourselves to not achieving what we need to achieve. Otherwise, we will be telling the world that there's nothing we can do anymore.
Did you want to say something? I think we have time for just one more response, and then...
We are standing here together, working to make this outcome one that drives the ambition, that keeps 1.5 alive, that phases out fossil fuels, that makes sure that nationally determined contributions can go up. And we are here together to stand for a loss and damage fund that can bring and protect the most vulnerable. And that is what we are here in these final hours working for, in the room, in the hallway, here, on all levels. And we're not stopping till we get there.
Thank you. We have to go to the plenary now. Thanks, all.